Frank Figliuzzi, can you pick up on this from those two perspectives, both the law enforcement perspective, that what Bill Barr did resulted in a high-level departure. The gentleman's name is Richard Pilger. He left as the head of election crimes at DOJ over Bill Barr unleashing prosecutors to go investigate voter fraud, seemingly at the president's behest. And then this, I think what Mike was getting at, more serious implication that without acknowledging Joe Biden's win and Donald Trump's defeat, the national security agencies are not engaged in a transition of power to the Biden administration.
Right. So far, we've seen a wholesale buying in to the president's state of denial, to include, no surprise, our own attorney general. Earlier today, we saw Secretary Pompeo joking about the stability of our peaceful transition process. So none of this should surprise us, but it should deeply concern us. With regard to the president-elect's comments today and comments specifically about the fact that he still isn't getting the presidential daily brief, still doesn't have the funds for transition and meeting for and planning with all the various agencies. I've got two thoughts on this, Nicole, and you've been very kind always in the past to let me hearken back to my FBI days, and I'm going to do that again if you'll allow me, which is this. We're coming very close. Well, we're coming very close to having what the Bureau calls a barricaded subject. The barricaded subject is in the White House. And what we saw the president-elect do today was right on the money with regard to initial negotiation with a barricaded subject. Here's why. We saw a very calm Joe Biden today. We saw him essentially shrugging off that he doesn't yet have the money or the keys to open transition offices. He shrugged off the fact that he's not getting the classified briefing. His staff isn't getting access to classified and briefings from the various agencies. That is exactly what you do in the initial stages. Whoever's advising him is doing it right. You want to let that barricaded subject know that this is going to be okay. I'm going to listen to what you have to say. You can vent and vent and vent. You can call me names and not acknowledge my authority outside the perimeter here. But eventually, we're going to get this done. And eventually, in this case, Nicole, there's going to be a time where Joe Biden calls the SWAT team. It may be a legal challenge to the GSA refusal to acknowledge him as winner. It may be that U.S. Marshals have to come take the president out. And as we say to a barricaded subject, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way. But so far, so good with the way that Joe Biden is handling this.
So he's not individual number one anymore, Frank. He's a barricaded subject. What does that mean? What is like the actual? I mean, it sounds like a hostage situation.
It means there's a way to handle this from a psychological standpoint, from a behavioral standpoint. And all of the last 4 years tell us a great deal about how this president reacts to loss, to being perceived as a loser, and how he needs time to process this. And I know we're all frustrated with it, but the reality is that Joe Biden's got this right. This is going to happen. We're going to acknowledge Joe Biden as the winner. The rest of the world has done it already, and the Republican people around the president need to do this as well, lest they become jokes, as Secretary of State did today. Now, for people worried about the briefings and what's not happening, look, I don't mean to demean this. I was a part of transition briefings when I was assistant director at FBI. They are extensive. They are serious briefings. But there's something else going on here that we need to acknowledge, I think, which is Trump doesn't want Biden to have access to the briefings because, number one, it acknowledges that he won. But also, there's a finer, more subtle layer to this, which is once Biden and his staff get into the agencies and start hearing real-time threat information, they may well discover, let's say hypothetically from the CIA, hey, sir, the following intel on the Russian threat has been suppressed, then we can't get it to Congress or the White House. Or from the FBI, Mr. Biden, we have to tell you that we have the various threats and indications of wrongdoing that we can't get out to anybody right now. That means Biden learns what Trump doesn't want him to learn, and that may be part of this suppression effort as well.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.